glad that we're having this conversation because I have listened to your previous podcasts and I just like your take on different things like your life, how you talk. And I don't know, I just feel like I want to talk to her. Like, I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm happy to talk to you. I want to get started by asking, who is Dej?
Dej. Okay, so for starters, my real name is Dejanay. A lot of people don't know that. For a long time, I didn't go by that name because I was embarrassed. You know, kids are mean when you're young, and if they don't understand it, it's just like they make fun of it. So I kind of shied away from that for a long time. So family, friends, they call me Deja or Dej. I am 31 years old, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Period. H-Town hottie for sure. I'm a mom of a 10-year-old. Who else is Dej? Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay, so we got mom, we got hottie with the body because look, before we start recording, I'm like, look at them arms, okay?
Yeah, I've been in there.
Yes, you been in that gym.
Because it's like, you know, when you wake up, you're refreshed. You have that burst of energy. So, yeah, it's best to channel it in an active way.
Yeah, so you say you a mom. All
Yes.
right, so if you a mom and a hottie, how you making that work?
So, at first, it was a lot of excuses for me, if I'm just throwing that out there. But I came with, I had to create a routine. I started to create a routine for us. Like, I noticed, like you said, myself, it's easier to work out in the morning because I have that energy. So when I dropped him off to school, instead of coming back getting in my bed, I go straight to the gym. So I've just created that habit before I start work, before I do anything. Drop him off at school, I go straight to the gym. I just make sure I get it done every day. Anytime he's going to school, I'm going straight there. And now, you know, it's to the point where I actually like it. It's therapeutic for me to work out. So anytime I have free time, that's what I'd rather be doing. So,
Yeah,
but it wasn't
definitely.
always like that.
Okay, so let's talk about old age. What advice would you, well, matter of fact, not what advice, but more so if you reflect on old age and this stage now, what would you like say any noticeable changes when it comes to how you are and how you present yourself?
Mm. A noticeable change. First, I would say self awareness. For a long time, I wasn't tapped in with myself. I was worried about everybody else and what everybody else thought. So a huge noticeable change is definitely self awareness. Yeah, I would have to go with that one at the top of the list for sure. And just to elaborate on that a little bit, how I got started on my fitness journey was just lack of self love. Like I knew I wanted to change something, but I wasn't sure, you know, how to do it. I would say that. As far as like physically, of course, like I wasn't satisfied with what I saw. I was overweight. I didn't feel good internally, and so. I think all of that. I had a friend. I had a homegirl. Um, she lost about 60 pounds working out with a trainer. Yeah, and I saw it, and she felt good. Like that's kind of what I really wanted was the feeling. Like she looked good, but she felt good, sis. And so I was like, I want that. Like I want that. Like I'm not happy. I don't know why I'm not happy because even though I was bigger, I still like the way I look. You know what I mean? Like to an extent, like I could still dress. You know, I was still sociable, things like that. But it was like internally, I was not feeling good. So I was like, I want that good feeling. And then she led me to her trainer, and the rest was history.
Okay, so you still working with the trainer?
Uh, I don't want to say I'm still working with her. I train by myself most of the time these days, but I still work out with her sometimes. Yeah, that's my girl. That's actually my best friend now. So,
Yeah. So you noted that self awareness. What would you say came up for you when it came to self awareness, like in this present day? Like, what came up for you after noticing, like, maybe back then, I'm guessing you were not as self aware back
Hmm.
then. So, what did you realize, like, I don't know, about yourself? Like, now, what can you say in regards to your self awareness when you look deep within yourself? Like, now.
Um, what made me realize that I needed to be self aware is because I was very disappointed with myself. Like, I was
Mhm.
just like, and the reason why I say disappointed is because I was quick to, point the finger. Oh,
Yeah.
this person is hurting me, or this person is using me, or this person is abusing me, whatever it is. I've dealt with, abuse in the past. But
Mm.
uh, it was like, okay, well, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing
Yeah.
in this scenario?
Yeah.
And what made me realize, um, the whole self awareness piece of it was
Mhm.
people pleasing.
Mm.
Yeah, I started to realize that I was just trying to please everyone else,
Yeah.
and it ultimately creates this fake person.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
wasn't who I was. Because I didn't like. How can I break this down? I'm not really good at using my words, so hopefully this makes sense. But I didn't like what was going on with me,
Yeah.
and I wanted other people to like what was going on with me, which doesn't make sense because if you don't like you, how somebody else gonna like you? But I wanted them to like me, so I thought, okay, if I act like a fake person, as everything that this person likes or this person
Mhm.
likes, then they would like me, right? But it's
Mhm.
wrong.
I appreciate you like so much. I want to, you said something in there. You said something about being a fake person.
Mhm.
What made you take that mask off? Like, was there an event that happened that kind of put you into this fit girl lifestyle as well as, because I know you be doing the branding things and stuff like that. Like, what put you in that space?
Okay, so I've always been kind of creative. Like I like
Hmm.
to dance, I like to rap, I can
Hmm.
write.
Yeah.
I'm very good at editing videos. Like I'm just a visual, like creative. So I've always wanted to do that. Um, just to answer your question as far as like Instagram specifically, but what pushed me to my fitness journey, uh, just like I said, feeling insecure, just not
Yeah.
liking what I saw.
Yeah.
Vaughn, it was bad. Like
Yeah.
it was like I'll go out, everybody will be complimenting me like, "Oh, you look good, you look good." But
Yeah.
I'm standing there, I'm covering my stomach, and then I'm a
Yeah.
girl with larger breasts. I'm tall already, so it's like, sis, you got to pick your big. Like
Yeah.
you already big and tall, you can't be big and wide too. Like
You see.
it wasn't adding up, sis, and I was just like not
Yeah.
happy. And
Mhm.
girls, we like to rely on this crutch of like, oh man, they still want me or whatever, blah blah blah. But it's like, regardless of them wanting you, are you happy? How do you
Exactly.
feel?
Exactly.
So yeah, that was just. Mm-mm. But another event that kind of pushed me into realizing that I gotta drop the people pleasing act
Mhm.
was like I said, I was feeling. It's a word that you used in your last podcast. Is it overload or overworked or what was it?
I was
It
talking about burnt out, burnout.
burnt out. Yes,
Yeah.
I was feeling burnt
Mhm.
out. I was
Yeah.
feeling burnt out, and I'm like, why do
Mhm.
you feel burnt out? Like, why are you not happy with the people that you
Yeah.
love or the people that love you? Like, why are
Yeah.
you so irritated with them? And I was
Yeah.
irritated with them because it's like, how do you not know that I'm burnt out? Like,
Yeah.
how do you not know that I don't want to do that or I don't
Yeah.
want to go there, but I'm going to say yes because you're asking me.
Yep.
So that's when I had to tap in, like, girl, well, what can you do differently?
Yeah.
And so, Vaughn, I started to say no, no, I don't want to go, da, da, da. And then I started to notice, like, a lot of people weren't happy. I started to lose
Mhm.
a lot of people, and it wasn't their fault, per se. I'm so
Yeah.
thankful for some of those relationships I was able to rekindle with my
Mhm.
new boundaries and things like that. But
Yeah.
it was like I was afraid to say no for so long because I wanted you to like me. I wanted you to be there for me, or whatever the
Mhm.
case, whatever my thought process was at the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, when I started to say no, I started to lose a couple of people, and
Mhm.
it was more so of them not. It wasn't that they didn't like me. It was just
Yeah,
like, well, we don't know this person. We don't know
exactly.
this mean girl. We don't
Mhm.
know this person who don't want to show up to events for us, or don't want to,
Yeah,
whatever the case may be.
yeah,
But yeah, so I had to lose a lot of people, and
yeah.
here we are today.
I heard you say, but it wasn't their fault. Can you explain that?
So what I mean, it wasn't their fault because I didn't give them a chance to know the real me. Like, what if they did
Mhm.
love me with my boundaries and
Yeah,
things like that?
yeah.
I never even gave them a chance because I was so busy trying to make them like a person that I
Mhm.
didn't like myself.
Yep. Yeah,
And yeah, with that, it was just like I ain't getting the chance to like really know me and
yeah,
what I stand for and things that I'm not going for, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And ultimately, when I started putting those pieces in place, the people that really was rocking with me, that was like, oh, cool, you ain't gotta, oh, you gotta do this instead. Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so.
That's so healthy. And I think sometimes we kind of talk about it's like a big, big narrative on how it's hard as adults to find friends.
Mhm,
And how sometimes it's like, oh, well, if you have your tribe from way back when, you can't create a new tribe
mhm,
because don't trust. Like people used to be like, no new friends and things like that. People still say that to
mhm,
this day. What would you say to something like that for somebody who was able to rekindle old friendships with the new you? Like,
mhm.
what would you say to people who believe that they cannot form new friendships with their new boundaries?
I would just say get out of your own way. Like
Hmm.
literally get out of your own way because um first of all, and I was just talking to someone about this, but
Hmm.
you gotta put yourself in your element, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of the times, a lot of friends that I have now come from fitness, right? Running, things like that. That's how I met you
Yeah,
guys in the group.
yeah,
So if you are putting yourself somewhere where you belong,
yeah,
your tribe is automatically gonna kind of form there.
yeah,
As far as rekindling old friendships,
yeah.
I just feel like it has to be equal on both sides. Both people has to be ready. And this is something that's kind of public as far as my best friend and I, for example, because that was a relationship that I honestly lost because of, the transformation and changes that I
Yeah,
was making.
yeah,
But because she was ready already mentally,
yeah,
to accept me for who I am in all stages, it was
yeah.
kind of effortless for that to rekindle. So you can't be trying to build new habits with toxic situations. So it has to be, parties that are also ready for the new journey as well.
Yes. Have you encountered any individuals who have tried to test your boundaries, and how did you handle it?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah,
I can
you can
cuss?
curse.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, this adult. Bye.
I did say, you know what? Hell yeah. But yeah, because sometimes I still find myself, and I'm big on self aware. I do not like
Mhm.
blaming people, Vaughn. So I'm gonna always take it
Mhm.
back to me. Of course, I've had people try and test my boundaries. It's because I'll drop them for a second and make them feel
Mhm.
comfortable, and then like Future say, do not get too comfortable.
Mhm.
So I quickly pivoted. I quickly
Yeah.
let them know, like, hey, actually, that's not gonna work for me. This will work for me
Mhm.
instead. So I
Yeah.
just I try to I try to identify it early so that we
Mhm.
don't I don't go through this same cycle
Michael, yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's been working out.
So what is something that you say? Like, do you have a direct like quote or something that you would say to someone who's testing your boundaries?
Just for an example, like someone, if they're used to me like doing something or
Mhm.
going somewhere, and then today I really don't want to go, I just say no, thank you. I don't
Mhm.
give a long spiel on why I can't do it. It just very simple. No, thank you. No,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
not today.
Oh, yes.
I'm good. Thank you for asking, but no.
Yeah.
Very sorry.
Okay. I like that mainly because you said long spiel. That's something that myself, a former people pleaser, used to do, saying, "Oh, the reasons why I can't go is because da 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 da." Next thing you know, I feel burnt out and I done talked myself into a hole. How did it go
Mhm.
for you back then? Because I was talking myself in holes. I'm telling
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
like it was.
And usually when you give someone an excuse, what do they want to do? They want to rebuttal, right?
Yep.
Oh, you're tired, but you can rest later. Oh, you don't have no money. Oh, but I'll pay for you. Oh, you
Hmm.
don't want to drive. I'll come get you. When you give people excuses, they will try to rebuttal that. So instead, to fix it, I just keep it short. No, thank you. I'm good. I just don't want
Yeah.
to. But yeah,
Hmm.
I used to find myself giving long stories or
Yeah.
and then they just figure out a way to rebuttal it and
Yeah.
think like, oh, she really wants to come, but it's like, no, I really don't want to come, or I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be in that place. And a
Yeah.
lot of things that make certain people happy that were in my life wasn't making me happy, like going
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
drinking and
Yeah.
doing that makes y'all happy, that makes y'all comfortable, but I'm standing there the whole time kind of
Yeah.
uncomfortable or
Yeah.
just forcing myself to do things that I don't want to do because I know it make y'all happy.
Yeah. We talked about a little bit in the chat about social batteries.
Hmm.
I think that was the other day. We was all talking and I was like, yeah, sometimes my battery be at a 2%.
Hmm.
And I used to force myself to go out and stuff like that. And now I just be like, it is what it is. So how would you describe your social, like you being around others? Like, what does that look like compared from then compared to now? Like, what does that circle look like for you in a social setting?
um so wait, what do you mean? Can
So
tell.
more so, yeah. So you had described like how it was a little bit unhealthy back
Hmm.
then. So what does the social setting look like now that it is a healthy space? Like what would be your ideal situation when it comes to social settings, or it just doesn't matter? Like,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So my ideal is a physical activity.
Hmm.
Like maybe we at the gym or like a field day. ZFT hosted a field day or invite me to like do volleyball or
Yeah.
that would be ideal. Now don't
Mm.
get me wrong, I love a good brunch and lunch and yeah, I love all that. Give me some dinner, all that. I think it's cute. I will do those things, but just all the time, probably not.
Mm.
Um, it was something I was gonna say in regards to what you said. You said, "How is it different?" I can't even think of it. I don't want to dwell on it. But yeah, that's
It's
that's
okay.
that's my ideal of a
Yeah.
good date with some friends.
Yeah. So I noticed, and you said you're 31.
Yeah.
I notice, at least for me, I don't know if it's true for you, but as I get older, I want a little bit more peace. Like, a little bit more peace and quiet. But at the same time, not just quiet, it can also it can look quiet, but it's not. Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So what does that look like for you?
Girl, some wine, hookah, my house quiet. I love when my son is gone and I can just literally sit on my couch with my blanket and
Yeah.
binge watch with
Yeah.
some wine.
Hmm.
I said wine, right?
Yeah, you said it, look, because I'm thinking the
Girl,
same thing.
right. And then I have a hookah here. I love hookah, girl.
Yeah.
Just hookah. That's a perfect night for me. That's a chill
Yeah.
vibe. I might get some sushi and just vibe out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm not
So,
dating right now, but if I was dating, I would definitely say like cuddle.
yes, yes. And look, now we could get into that just a tiny bit because I want to talk about disappointment in the area of cultivating relationships. So, do you find the new you? I know right now you focused.
Hmm.
That's what it seems.
Hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as you reach this higher level, is there some things you're noticing about relationships in general, like what they look like to you from the focus lens and not the one that's trying to pursue the relationship? Because if you're focused right now, it sounds like then you kind of like pull back from that. But what is your view, like your world view of what relationships look like now that you're in this different space? Like, what does that look like?
It looks like patience. It looks
Mm,
like understanding. It looks like communication. I
mm-hmm,
know people are there's this thing when it comes to communication that people are they typically shy away from because uncomfortable
mm-hmm.
conversations. But
Yep.
there's so much power in just knowing.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's top tier for
Yeah.
me when
Yeah.
it comes to like what a relationship is supposed to look like. Those few things. I feel like we also need to be aligned on a lot of our beliefs and values and things
Yeah.
like that. But it ultimately comes down to us communicating about those things.
Mm-hmm. What's something that you've been disappointed in recently?
These days, I've kind of been real giddy, real good girl. But before the last thing, my hugest disappointment, because this realization about myself, although I've been on my fitness journey since 2020, the self realization really didn't happen until 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my last huge disappointment, was just realizing that you got to take accountability. It ain't them, it's you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that it really disappointed me because it was like you're so much better than that. Like people will really like you if you just be
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Give them that opportunity. So
Yeah.
that kind of disappointed me. I haven't had really any like romantic disappointments in a while. I've been single for a couple of years now, so I haven't had like a romantic disappointment. A lot of the times I'm able to see right away if it's gonna work out or not, and I won't waste his time and I don't let him waste mine. So
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, if we may, this
yeah.
a tiny bit, because I'm noticing that I find myself having these conversations with people, um,
Mhm.
but when it comes to a person who's trying to be on their stuff and do everything that they can in order to empower themselves, you can kind of get lost in this. I don't know if I want to call it like grind, because it ain't really a grind. It's more so like your peace or
Mhm.
whatever, to whereas you look like you're not about to disturb my peace. So when you just know that like I'm not gonna waste your time, you're not gonna waste mine. What does it look like in the beginning, noticing early on friendships, relationships? It could, hell, it could be family, anything, like where it's like you're not about to play with me. Like, what does that look like?
Listening, because a lot of the times people will tell you what it is kind of early,
Yeah.
what they're not, what they want the dynamic to be versus what your actual wants are. So you gotta believe it. A long a long time for a long time, Vaughn, I thought that um I could change people's mind,
Mm.
basically.
Oh,
Like if for example, just a guy, if a guy tells you like, hey, I don't want a relationship,
yeah.
just because he pursues you romantically after that, maybe he wants a physical relationship, but
Yep.
he's told you already, I
Already.
don't want a romantic
Yep.
relationship. That's
Yeah.
not going to stop me from pursuing you, but it is up to you to decide. I'm saying it's up to me, Dave, to decide what you want to do now. Like, are you going to allow that to waste your time after this person has already told you y'all are not on the same path?
Yeah.
Or you going to feel like you can change this person's mind because that's what you want or whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the times it's just identifying early by listening,
Yeah.
actually listening to what they're saying and not what I want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's a tough one. Just as a former person who thought that they can change people as well, and recognizing that no, used to be a little gullible when it came to that. Like, oh, you say you ain't want it, but you gonna find out, and I found out. Just staying true to having your ears peeled and your eyes wide, and noticing like people are going to show, like you said, people are going to tell you and show you what they want and what they want it to look like.
Hmm.
And it seems like now at this point you're very grounded I want to know, what does your support system look like when it comes to that?
Oh, good question. A lot of love, a lot of spiritual. Like I get a lot of my love and guidance and just
Mhm.
confirmations and hugs from the Lord Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I don't want to make this super religious, but
Yeah.
when I started to go back to His word instead of everyone else's word,
Mhm.
it it grounded me and it gave me like a sense of direction and a sense of purpose
Yeah.
and a sense of confidence within myself to know that I am beautifully and wonderfully made
Yeah.
individually. So it doesn't matter, what other people are saying or what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is something that has truly helped me within the past 2 years. Also, I have a huge support system as far as like family, my
Mhm.
mom, my grandmother, my
Right.
brothers, cousins, my son. Oh, that love is so different. Like
Yes,
from a
it is.
child,
Yeah.
like it just really makes you appreciate love. Like they're so innocent. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a huge support system as far as like friends and family. You guys keep me grounded too. When I'm ready to be social, I know I can hop in there and get a good laugh, get
Yeah.
some hugs. Know that I'm not alone as far as like things that I'm going through. I love how open we are with each other. That's therapeutic
Yeah.
for me too,
Yes, yes,
for
very
sure.
much so. And of course, I appreciate anything you say in the chat. Like, y'all be cracking me up too.
Girl, look, I get a little wild in there sometimes. It's a good time though. It's so fun. I love y'all. Y'all are such
Yeah.
good people, honestly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Be having the worst of the worst moment of the day, and then you go in the chat. Somebody done said, "I hope you feel well." Like, I
Yeah.
hope everything is okay. That's some support that I can say individually I haven't had before. So it's a
Mhm.
bit overwhelming at times, but it's in a good way. So yeah. I gotta love it. And so it sounds like, because you did note family, it sounds like your family played a big role in how you, of course, how you are today. But I want to know, because I know you said in the past you were insecure. What
Mhm.
came, what created that? Not just you, like, was there any outside factors that created that?
Um, of course, yeah. Uh, so okay, I'm gonna have to say both. It was me and outside factors, right? Because
Yeah.
I play a role in everything. But yeah, just toxic relationships that I've built in times where I wasn't my best
Yeah.
created the outcomes that I got. So yeah, people. For example, my son's dad. So my son's dad, that's when I kind of like
Yeah.
really hit it. But yeah, some of the things he used to say to me when he was upset, it kind of caused insecurities and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's the gist of it. That's the root. He
Yeah.
is the root. If he ever sees
Yeah.
this, though, we all good. I love you and I forgive you. I played a
Yep.
role,
Yep.
but yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely did a number on you, girl. I was super insecure after that relationship, and then
Mm.
it just kind of spiraled after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Just taking a breather for that,
Yeah.
because as a single mom as
Mhm.
well, it just shows you, past relationships just show you what you don't want in your future. And sometimes we learn the lessons over and over again because we're not trying to actually apply the lesson learned. But it sounds like you have definitely gotten to the point where it's like, I'm applying this. Like, we, mm-mm. I know what I don't want, and I know the woman
Mhm.
that I am now and the woman that I'm becoming. So I think that's so amazing. You develop resilience from past relationships, and it's always a lesson. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm glad that you were able to get pivot from
Yeah.
that.
Me
Uh-huh.
too. Me too. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words so much. You are so sweet. Thank you.
No problem, girl. And I do want to say, like, what's the sweetest thing your son has ever said to you?
Oh, that's a good one. So I think the sweetest thing from him is like when he knows a holiday is coming up
Mhm.
and he tells me I don't know if he can hear me there right now, but yeah, he'll tell me like, "Oh, mom, like I'm gonna ask Gigi for some money or G Annie for some money or whoever his family for money." He's like, "I'm gonna make sure I get you something,"
Oh,
and he knows that I'm not really like as far as taking gifts from him and things like that. I'm like, no, don't worry, it's okay. I appreciate the thought, and I just like the fact that he's like, no, like this past Valentine's Day, for example, he made me a Valentine card and he taped money inside and he was like, take it. Like he literally wrote that on the card. He was like, take it. Because he knows I'll be like, oh no, keep your money, like, buy
yeah,
something. But yeah, I just think that's so sweet that he knows, and flowers and stuff like that, like he knows that I want those things. So he
yeah,
tends to tell me like, oh, I'm gonna buy you some flowers, like I'll get you some this or that.
yeah.
Makes me emotional, girl. But
Girl,
yeah,
it's okay. They look, them sons, I'm telling you, I have two sons. You gonna
okay,
see them today.
okay.
They look, we gonna be looking how we looking. I'm gonna just tell you that because I
Oh,
already care
look,
Sunday. I don't care, but
that's a-okay. Look,
tell you, but they are just the sweetest. Like,
yeah.
I don't
How
know what
old?
it is. 10, well, going on 10, and
Okay,
then I have a 4-year old. He's going on 5 this year.
okay.
But my 9-year old, he about to be 10 real soon. He act like he my man. I don't know what's wrong with him. He need to get it together.
I'm
Ask him
hollering.
80 questions.
What?
But yeah, similar to you, like, mom, I'm gonna get you a big house. Mom, I'm gonna get you this, I'm gonna get you that. And I think that our sons show us the love that we give to them. And then
Mhm.
sometimes, as a parent, I'm saying I ain't perfect
Yeah.
because I done messed up a couple times, but
That's,
my sons, they're very I know my son, he's very what do I want to say? He's very much in tune with his emotions and he feels them very strongly to the point it overwhelms me sometimes coming from a background of a parent who wasn't
mm,
emotionally detached. So I have to learn to receive the emotions. So, and girl, it's okay to cry because I feel like we deserve that as moms. We deserve that
yeah. That
son.
release. And I
Yeah.
always feel better after I cry. Yeah, I'm a crier, man. I will bust out in tears at any moment. I love a good cry. I do. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to talk about real quick about mental health. Like, where would you say your mental health is beyond working out? Because what people don't know, I don't know if you know this, but like working out is similar to going to therapy. It's just not the talk therapy part because of what it's releasing and those feel good hormones, everything like that. Like you just feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So, in addition to that, and then also you said, God, are you doing anything else when it comes to mental health
Um,
or to build up your mental health? Like put yourself in a space where you can emotionally regulate and stuff like that.
I just try to uh, exercise the brain muscle as much as possible. I like to read,
Mhm.
self developmental books, and
Mhm.
I like to listen to podcasts that pour into you and things like that. Shout out to WeAreVon Podcast. Um, yeah, I just yeah, those things outside of church and
Yeah.
uh, working out is definitely like reading and just pouring into myself
Mhm.
mentally. But
Yeah.
I do want to get into therapy. Like I'm a yapper. Like I want to let all these feelings out on
Mhm.
somebody. So
Yeah.
I want to get into therapy for sure. I think that'll help me more.
Yeah. You mentioned church and God. I
Mhm.
am a believer. I want to know what is the latest um, sign or feeling that you feel came only from God. Like, can you remember any situation that you were in and you were like, "Yep, I already know that's him. He's talking to me."
Oh, amen. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's talk about it. The hugest one where I was like, this is nobody but God. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of backstory about,
Mhm.
how I got started on this self awareness and all that 2 years ago. As I tell you, 2 years ago was very important to me now. But I ended up losing my car.
Mm.
I ended up losing my apartment. I ended up losing my job, my boyfriend at the time. It was just like everything was spiraling downhill. And these were all back to back events.
Yeah.
Everything was happening back to back. I stopped
Yeah.
working out. I got, big again, all this stuff. So
Yeah.
then I ended up moving into this one bedroom apartment, my son and then my brother moved in as well. He was living there as well. And
Yeah.
so it was like I was in this uncomfortable place,
Yeah.
two big grown adults, me and my brother. I'm in the room with my 8-year-old turning
Yeah.
9-year-old son at the time,
Yeah.
and my brother is in the living room. We just in this situation that we don't want to
Yeah.
be. This very uncomfortable situation. This
Yeah.
is me being very, very, very vulnerable with you right
Yeah.
now.
Of course.
But yeah, and we was living just in the hood, in the ghetto. It was very, very, very bad.
Yeah.
And I came from like this super, super high. I had
Yeah.
like a nice charger. I had a nice apartment, a nice job that was paying me. I was getting commission. It was good to nothing.
Yeah.
So it was like I was bumped down all those steps. So not only did I take a pride hit, but it was
Mhm.
like I was taking hits in every other way as well,
Yeah.
financially, emotionally, mentally, because I'm taking care of a 9-year-old child,
Yeah.
and just emotionally, everything. It was bad.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to turn to God during that time because I didn't have anybody else. And this is where I started to have to create those boundaries and say,
Yeah.
no, I can't come. Seriously, this sounds like I really can't come. Although I was scared, if I have to be honest, I was scared in that time because you got to think if you come in from everything and then you go to nothing,
Nothing. Yeah.
and I've had nothing before, like I came from nothing. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like I wasn't used to having nothing, I guess, but it was like,
Yeah.
it was a pride thing because of everything that I had just built.
Yeah. Yep.
So I wasn't able to communicate that to the people that care about me,
Yeah.
essentially. I wasn't able to open up with them to them. And
Yeah.
so I hid it for a lot of times, and then it created the whole resentment thing that I was talking about. And
Yeah.
I had no choice but to go to God because I didn't have anybody else. And it wasn't that I didn't have them, they didn't have me in that moment because I wasn't me fully.
Yeah.
So I turned to God, and it was one day, I was only in that situation for about 11 months. And I don't want to say only because every day was dreadful.
Yeah. Of
Like
course.
every single day was dreadful.
Yeah.
But it was like days you can't quit when you have a child. And then I just had this burning sensation inside of me that God was communicating with me, letting me know, like, I'm still here with you.
Yeah.
Now that you are at your lowest, you have to come to me. Let me save you. That is why he is called our Savior. But a
Yeah.
lot of the times we run from that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was like, okay, let's get back in church. Let's figure out where I'm going wrong. So
Yeah.
I secluded myself from the world, took myself off social media, lost my best friend at the time, lost, all my cousins that I was close to, just
Yeah.
pretty much down to myself. Lost my man, I told you that at the time. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
off camera. It wasn't nothing too crazy. Well, it was
Yeah.
crazy, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. But I lost my man at the time. I had to let that relationship go. And yeah, it just pushed me close to the Lord. And one day, girl, he just told me, like, get up, go to this apartment, the apartment that I'm in right now. He
Yeah.
was like, go to this apartment. Mind you, I didn't have no money. I didn't have
Yeah. Yep.
nothing. He
Yep.
was like, go to this apartment. So I got my son in the car one night. It was late, like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Got him in the
Mhm.
car, brought him to this apartment. We walked around the apartments. I had never been to these apartments, Vaughn,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
We walked around the apartments, and I was just telling my son, like, yeah, hopefully we can move here, yada,
Mhm.
yada, yada. And so he was just like, excited. He's like, okay, cool, because he see what we living in, what we going.
Yeah.
People, our neighbors are literally dying, getting shot. Like it
Oh
was
my God.
horrible, Vaughn. It was bad, girl. I ain't lying. But yeah. So I brought him over here, and then like a week after that, I'm at work, and I'm working from home at the time. I'm at work,
Mhm.
and then God was just like, get off of this and go apply for that apartment. I'm like, I don't have no money. Like
Yeah.
I'm literally battling with him. I'm like, what are you? Like I don't
Yes.
have no money. I don't have
Yes.
no transportation. I don't have. What do you mean? He
Yeah.
was like, get over there and go do that. I went over there, I applied. Mind you, I had horrible credit at the time. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
what is about to go? But in this time, and I kind of skipped through some steps, of course, just to give you the gist of like how I felt him moving me. He was saying
Yeah.
go, but in this time, as I was there, I was working on myself as well. I
Yeah.
was getting into church. I was working on my credit. I was working on things that I can control, saving
Yeah.
money where I could. I started back working. Like I said, I got the work from home job,
Yeah.
and yeah. So yeah, I started working on things that I could. I
Yeah.
went up there to the apartment. I applied. 3 days later, I got approved. We ended up moving in. Yeah, this was
Yes.
11 months out though. Like I said, it was a whole little journey. I'm kind of skipping,
Yes.
but yeah, we ended up moving in. We prayed over it, and that's another relationship that built over time as far as like my son and God. Like now he has a relationship with God. He knows how to pray. He listens to his little gospel music
Yeah.
because of me and things like that. But long story short, I felt God in that moment, and I was like, "This is nobody but you," and I'm
Yeah.
so thankful. So I think now that's why I'm so locked in with the Lord because it's just like
Yes.
nobody got me through that time but you.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, girl. That's very inspirational, and I'm pretty sure that your son is going to remember that forever.
Hmm.
Because if you can recount everything that happened, I'm pretty sure he can. So,
Yeah, yeah, we talk about it, Vaughn. Like,
hmm.
I actually don't let him forget it because I don't want him to take it for granted. This is his
Yep.
first time ever having his own room, Vaughn. He's 10
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
So you got to think about things like that. He's never had his own room.
Yep.
So he gets his own room now. He got a lot of things to be grateful for now. So
Yeah.
now that he can put the pieces together that, oh, this is where we came from and this is where we are. This is why my mom is praising God.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So it makes
Yeah.
him, grateful and praise God and things like
Yeah.
that. So I always
Yeah.
try to tie the two together. I do not let him forget.
Yeah.
Sometimes, girl, I even drive him over there. You remember where we was at?
Where was it?
So don't forget that.
Twist.
'Cause, yeah.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful story. And
Thank
girl, I
you.
almost started crying over here. Like, what
Oh,
the girl?
it was
Because
good.
I would never know,
Mhm.
like upon first glance, looking at
Yeah.
you, I'm like, this girl, she got some confidence. Like when I first saw you at the pool party, I'm like,
Mhm.
she is beautiful and tall, and it's just like confident. Like the confident exudes.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're amazing, Dej.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yes, of course. And with everything that you've gone through, to kind of like wrap it up, I want to know what is some advice that you would give to someone who's struggling right now to find out who they are and be a little bit more in tune with self and take care of self, and they have weak boundaries? Like, what is some advice that you would give them to get through?
Um, I would say tap in with God, tap in with the Lord. That's the only way I got to where I am, and I'm so grateful. So I'm always going to give Him glory. I'm always going to give Him praise, and I recommend you to do that because Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you." So even if you are insecure, even if you are
Yeah,
not knowing which way to go or what to do or have boundaries, know that you were beautifully and wonderfully created.
yeah,
So go to the Creator.
yeah, yeah. That was amazing. I was just about to ask what's your favorite scripture.
That's definitely got to be my fave. Also, let all you do be done in love. That's
Mhm.
another one because a lot of the times we get lost in the sauce and we
Yeah.
start forgetting to love each other
Yes. Yeah.
regardless to what we're going through. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I thank you so, so much for being here. This has been a
Okay.
pleasure.
Hey.
Everything that you're doing right now and even in the future. Oh, do you want people to follow you on social media?
Oh, please, y'all. Your
Yeah.
girl is a content
Yeah.
creator. Follow me for
Mhm.
fitness tips, inspiration, outfits, ideas, all that good stuff. I'm on Instagram at underscore it's ITSDAJ. It's stage. Period.
Yes. Yes. Wait a minute. Hold on. You forgot something else.
Oh,
YouTube.
YouTube. Yes. Y'all, I like to create vlogs too, lifestyle vlogs. Please
Yeah.
follow me on YouTube, just Dash on YouTube. Thank
Yeah.
you, Vaughn.
Girl,
Plug.
no. Not finna forget that. No. Not at all. I'm looking for the next episode.
So excited. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. I was watching it on the big TV, and my kid was like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "That's Dage." Okay.
Period. Thank
Yes. Well,
you.
all right, girl. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna see you soon.
Yes, I'll see you soon. Have a good day.
All right.